Malcolm, welcome to Place Focus.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have the CEO of Southbank here.
Oh, well, it's a pleasure to be here and give you my thoughts.
I'm going to kick off with what I'll ask everyone who gets interviewed as part of this website and training program is, what's your favourite place?
Oh, well, look, locally, of course, it's got to be Southbank. I think Southbank's a fantastic asset. It's just amazing when people from overseas come here and they just see the extraordinary place that has been created here. And, you know, the origins of it were around a major event, Expo, in 1988. And, you know, those 20 years ago, you know, looking forward to today, who would have imagined that we have created this amazing place? And I think it's when people react the way they do when they come from overseas that, you know, we can get pretty blasé about this place. But it's actually a fantastic asset for this city to have, and I'm very privileged to be able to have oversight on it.
So, good answer, the politically correct answer. What would be another place other than Southbank?
Well, look, I think further afield in terms of other Australian cities, I love Melbourne's laneways. I think they're a great part of that particular city and a great part of the way that city expresses its character as a place, as a series of connected places, and the way those have come alive, the way they've been reinvented in a way. You know, they were facing the prospect of simply slipping back into places that were not very well used, to now see them being used the way they are, and that they are this setting for a whole range of not only just physical things, but the way in which they've nurtured, you know, the cultural economy of that city. I think's, you know, been an amazing turnaround for that particular place.
Malcolm, African wildlife tourists talk about the big five when they're on safari. Yes. They want to see the lions and the elephants. What's the big five then for urban places like the Melbourne Laneways or Southbank?
Good question. I think that top of the list for me would be sensory stimulation, that we as humans need to be excited and stimulated about places that we're in. If you think about the places you've seen when you've travelled and experienced, often when you reflect on what it was that made those places so memorable, it was about what you saw, heard, smelt, felt. And so I think as urban designers, you know, we have a real responsibility and challenge to make sure that we're actually creating that kind of stimulation appropriate to the setting, of course. You know, we don't need to overload people, but we need to certainly create strong impressions for people when they go to places. I think secondly, leading on from that, is attention to human needs. That again, why are we designing cities? Why are we planning cities? We're planning cities for people, and too often we lose sight of the fact that they are the ultimate users. People are the users of these places and spaces we're creating, and so attention to what it is, some basic human needs that people have to experience in places, I think is really important. So I'm talking here about climate, ergonomics. I'm talking about all the basic things. Safety, all of those things, and I might come back and talk about that a bit more. I think thirdly, you know, for the eye, beauty, aesthetics are really important. I think that, you know, people need to be uplifted when they go to places, and I think beauty and aesthetics are something that a lot of people shy away from, and obviously beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but we need to continue to strive to create beautiful places. Fourthly, I think support for the diversity of user. How do you measure success in public places and the public realm? I think it's about the diversity of use that they can support. You know, if we start designing for too narrow a range of user, then I think we would have failed. And finally, look, I'd say in the same vein, in creating that diversity of use, that we also need to create diversity of experience. In other words, that we don't create places that are such set-piece designs that they exclude the opportunity for adaptation, for flexibility in the way in which they can be used. I think some of the most successful places are places that are capable of adaptation and able to support a range of different activities. So, Andrew, those would be my top five.